What's up, you guys? Adam here with Anabolic Climbing. And if you take a look on the screen right now, you're not seeing double. That is two handsome devils that are talking about anabolics and rock climbing. So if you're here, you're in the future and you're wondering, man, he had all of those really cool tests that he wanted to do. Were they good? Were they worth it? Did he break his rules on stuff he wanted to test? Were there more compounds in there that he hadn't considered 9 months ago when he started this? Well, now's a good time to hang out in the future. So don't forget to like and subscribe. Like I said, I'm Adam with Anabolic Climbing, our favorite mad scientist and the general of chemical warfare in the rock climbing space. And we're going to go through one of my first videos when I was still a young budding natty, had only pinned some HCG and some carnitine. And we're going to figure out, of all of the things that I looked into the future and thought that I was going to test, was I right? Was I wrong? Did they help me climb harder? Did I not like it? What happened? So let's hop into it. Adam from the past knew that he was going to be testing some tests, HCG, Anavar, some Sloopy, some creatine, obviously, L-carnitine, and some terkestrone and ecdysterone. And of all of these things, let's talk about the things that helped me in terms of body comp and strength, and we'll sort of review them in terms of thumbs up, thumbs down, would I run them again? So first and foremost, let's start with testosterone. I'm still on test. I've been running test since February. Test is awesome. 10 out of 10 would recommend as long as you're a dude. And yeah, huge fan. Definitely helped me in terms of strength, helps me in terms of recovery, helps me in terms of sleep. Testosterone is dope. Would highly recommend. But, and I've said this in multiple other videos, I would not run testosterone without running HCG first. Human chorionic gonadotropin is a great way to both improve fertility parameters and elevate your testosterone without shutting you down from the HPTA axis. If you use exogenous testosterone for a long time, like this crazy SOB, you're going to want some HCG to restart your endocrine system. So if you're new to your anabolic journey and you're not sure if you want to commit, HCG is the place you'd start. Would absolutely recommend it to anyone considering going enhanced to figure out if this is for you. Which brings us to the number one compound that every one of my videos that tends to do well is Anavar. Yeah, still love it. I think the research that I've done on it, and I might make a follow-up video, I've kind of changed about this over time, definitely helps with collagen synthesis, particularly for skin. The research on tendon integrity isn't as good as I initially thought. And while it definitely is amazing in terms of driving strength, and I love using this compound, I've been using this compound for over 9 months, and I'll probably continue to use it provided that my blood work that I got today doesn't look like soup. I definitely, the way I look at it in terms of a tool has changed. Initially, I looked at it to be probably the best anabolic driver of collagen synthesis. And as far as an anabolic, it might be, but I kind of prefer it in terms of really being a strength multiplier to then pair really well with GH. So I definitely love it. I'll definitely continue to run it. It's probably my favorite oral, but yeah, the way I look at it in a tool has changed, and I'll probably do some more on it later. And I'll sort of go through some of my old research and react to that. SLUPP332. Still love this compound. Even though it's super experimental and easily the most experimental compound I have ever tried, as there's still no human data available. And as soon as there is some, I will be publishing something on that ASAP. Yeah, it's just really good endurance in a pill. I haven't tried the injectable SLUPP332. I might try it at some point. But yeah, if I'm ever having to amp up for an endurance project or just need to increase my cardio, it's still one of my favorite compounds, and I think easily the most slept on compound in the rock climbing community. From all of the anecdotal data that I've seen, there is no suppression in the HPTA, so it shouldn't shut you down for your testosterone. It seems to be safe in both men and women. Again, highly experimental, but that's what the early data suggests. And if you're just trying to get better endurance, I think it's probably top of the list. I've taken this twice. In both cases, my blood work has looked better after taking it versus before. It's been great as a fat burner. Yeah, I'm really hyped about this compound. And if you're a tested athlete, you should absolutely be slamming this until WADA bans it, because I would bet my life that this is going to get banned in the next year or two. Creatine, there is no debate. The only question on creatine is how much should you take. I have mega dosed it to combat lack of sleep. It's great for that, assuming you can handle the stomach discomfort. Creatine's the GOAT. If SLUPP has no research, creatine has like 50, 60, maybe even more than that years of study, and it's the GOAT, and you should run it. L-carnitine, still amazing. Great for fat loss, lipolysis, energy. For me, it works really well as a nootropic. If you are just getting into anabolics, this should be the first thing you pin. Again, won't shut you down from an HPTA perspective. It's a great thing to learn how to inject. It'll be your first oil. And yeah, if you can tolerate injecting carnitine every day, you could absolutely be ready for test or growth hormone or anything like that. I have done pretty well in terms of strength gain on terkesterone and ectosterone. In hindsight, it might have been placebo. I have yet to see compelling evidence on this, and just because I have climbed well on it, could be placebo. That's kind of the conclusion that I've come to, and for the time being, I don't think my mind can be changed on that. Definitely a compound that I'm glad I tried when I was still natty, but I don't know. All things considered, nothing super impressive that I would it would never replace my Anavar. It would never replace my testosterone. That's just kind of the way I feel about it right now. So, Adam from the future, looking about the things that I was on the fence about. Did I try Deca? Yeah. I ran nandrolone for 2 weeks. It was good. But for me, it was a little bit too anabolic. I felt like I was gaining size a bit too quickly. And if you were someone that could use the help from the joint lubrication, this is the thing that could be for you. But for myself and for another gentleman that I know that climbs that ran Deca, we both grew a little bit too much. I cut the experiment off at 2 weeks. I know he ran it longer. Losing muscle sucks, especially when it's really hard to do with a test base. If you want to take on the risk of 19 NORs, both in terms of the mental side effects, the physical side effects, the likelihood of gyno, the sexual side effects. Also, if you've ever been curious about like changes in sexual preference, definitely look up Deca and trend stories. Even though I didn't get this on 100 milligrams of nandrolone, I don't think I'd run this experiment again. But still glad that I did to check the box. Growth hormone. I have such a love-hate relationship with this compound. When my fingers swell, I cannot stand this compound. When I get numbness in my fingers, I cannot stand this compound. I have been working off the same 2-month batch probably since this video 9 months ago. And really for the last 4 weeks, I have forced myself to take growth hormone, and like, I'm getting stronger and I still have not fallen in love with this compound. It could be because I'm taking too much. Maybe I'd feel better at 2 IUs or 3 IUs. Maybe at 3.5 IUs it's too much. That's possible. And I'm definitely doing everything in my power to manage the side effects, both from taking potassium, taking taurine, working on some thumb strengthening exercises to try to loosen up my forearms so that the nerves get pinched less. I am fighting for my life trying to run this compound. And even though from my research, it is the undisputed king of collagen synthesis, and unlike nandrolone and Anavar, the collagen depositions to the tendon are flawless, it's really hard for me to tolerate it at high doses. I still believe that it's more important to get the proper stimulus to the tendon than it is to just flood your system with more collagen production. And it's been really hard for me to board climb on this compound. I'm going to continue to do everything I can to just loosen things up, because I could easily just do block pulls the entire time and use that for my training, and that would be okay. It's really hard for me personally to stay on the wall with GH right now. Like I said, I'm going to do everything I can to try to mitigate it, to give you an unbiased opinion, because you guys know that I walked into this with some injuries. But GH might be the hardest compound that I have had to tolerate of everything that I've run so far. So definitely high upside if you can handle it. Obviously, you could lower the dose and do that. I'm sure at 1 to 1.5 IUs, even 2 IUs, you'd be fine. Also, if you're less injury prone, you'd be fine. I know folks that are prescribed GH that love it, that don't deal with the same side effects. So I recognize this could be a me thing, but super high potential upside if you can manage everything that comes with it. I haven't tried Turinabol. That's going to happen at some point this year or next year, best believe. I still have some Primobolan in the house. Have not had a chance to run that yet, or at least I haven't made time for it yet. But I have run Mast. And of the anabolics, masteron is my second favorite. I like it for its ability to limit some of the estrogen expression that I deal with without limiting the overall estrogen in my system. Super good. I get better endurance personally when I take it. I get a little bit more aggressive in the weight room, which I love. So one of the things about androgens is it makes effort feel good. And masteron's my favorite, man. Like, I don't get irritable off the wall or just like going throughout my life. But when I'm under heavy squats or heavy deadlifts, if you're natural, you'll know what I'm talking about, where things get hard and you're like, I want to stop. And every time when I'm running Mast and Anavar together, I'm always just like, all right, let's go. It's like, it starts getting hard and it's like, one more. I get through that next one, I'm like, 2 more, let's go. I get into it, like, more. And it's just so much fun for me, man. Like, I might even like it more than Anavar, depending on the day, man. I really, really enjoy this compound. There's currently a shortage, so it's kind of hard to get a hold of. But, man, masteron is a really, really, really good time. It's also a super dry compound. I am a big fan. Would definitely consider recommending it if you're going on the anabolic path. I don't remember what dianolone is. Is that halotestin? What is that? I completely forgot. Yeah, I don't know what dianolone is. I'm probably not going to take it. I'm almost positive it's halotestin. It's an oral version of nandrolone? Weird. Yeah, not going to take it. I don't know why I was considering it. I assume that it's either a strength driver or potentially a... or maybe it has some potential collagen effects. I don't really plan to run it. I will, on the other hand, run Halo. Even though it's super liver toxic and is synonymous with rage, I think it's worth at least a handful of attempts for balls-to-the-wall dynos. I need to prepare myself for when I am going to be running it, but assuming I'm injury-free, Halo is definitely on the list of stuff to do. So, of the stuff I'm definitely not testing, or at least I thought that 9 months ago, I'm still not running Tren. I think it's too anabolic. I've heard it might be viable to run some Tren acetate for just like 24-hour in and out, just get some crazy aggression and go ballistic. I don't know. It's still Tren, man. I don't really have a desire for it, but it's worth considering. Winstrol. I could see myself running it for a week or two, similar to how I'd run Halo. I don't think I would run it for much longer than that. In some cases, so when we talk about like DECA and all of those, creating too much collagen and making the lattice structure worse because of too much collagen. Winstrol just seems to like actively mess up or the collagen in the lattice structure of the tendons. I've seen more injuries on Winstrol, both in bodybuilders, and I haven't seen good performance on it in climbers. So while it could be useful for a week or two to just drive aggression and drive performance, not into it. Anadrol could work depending on how much bloat there is. Potentially Superdrol too, but I just don't want to run it. And let's talk about the number one thing that I'm going to change my mind on, and that's EQ. Initially, I looked at EQ as just like too anabolic. It's a steroid for horses. I don't like the human data in it. Not great for the red blood cell count. Not great for the kidneys. And I'm going to walk back most of those positions. I haven't seen the kidney damage in people, not in all of the bodybuilders whose blood work I've seen. I have, like, you're going to get an increase in red blood cell count, but you're going to get that on any anabolic. I don't think equipoise is, like, uniquely bad. Also, it's a huge driver of pro-collagen, which might actually be better from an anabolic perspective than nandrolone, and maybe on the level of Anavar. Like, I've been sleeping on EQ. It's also a super dry compound. It's really anabolic, but, like, if I were getting into alpine climbing, I'd run EQ. If I were getting into endurance work, I'd run EQ. I'm, like, really coming around to this compound, and it's going to get tested at some point or another. I would probably substitute it for my masteron in the way that I would run it. But, like, EQ makes sense. I was wrong about this 100%. I'm not running Trustolone. I'm not running Ment. There's no chance. And of the other vectors to review, the majorities were just stupid. 9 months ago, Adam was a little out of his mind. I'm not running Clen. I don't think you need the fat burners. GLPs are just flat out better. And I don't see the reason for elevating my heart rate for clenbuterol. I don't think fat loss is going to be that important. EPO could be viable, but the risk to reward ratio is not optimal. Cialis is dope. I love Cialis. Natty or not, it's WADA approved. You should run Cialis. If for no other reason, then it's awesome. Arginine's fine. There's better supplements to run. Cardarine is cancerous, and I know people that can run it, and I'm not. Of all of like the cancerous things that I'm potentially running, right? Between the Sloopy, the GH, the MOTC, I don't need anything else that induces cancer in my life. That's a hard pass for Cardarine. And let's sort of talk about the last couple compounds that I didn't think of back then that I've either tried or just didn't think of 9 months ago at the beginning of the journey before we sort of crossed the threshold into being advanced or enhanced. And that is your BPC 157. Ran it, liked it, good for tendinosynovitis. Not great for driving hypertrophy, but definitely great for driving recovery. I haven't tried TB500, but I put it in the same category. I haven't tried melanotan 2, but it's probably viable for fat loss. But nothing compares to the king of fat loss, which is retatrutide. Something that I was not... I don't remember if I wasn't aware of it, or it just... I hadn't considered running GLP-1s, but like... Still WADA approved as of this taping. Still... probably the king of fat loss, and yeah, just I absolutely love the compound. Reta is the GOAT. I lost 15 pounds in 6 weeks while retaining my muscle. Shout out to testosterone. Tirzepatide is also great if you are wanting to go the pharmaceutical route. I think that's fantastic. But GLP-1s are amazing for really all types of climbing. And if you need to lose weight or you're just trying to feel more comfortable in a cut, I would leverage them. That's the move. And I've tested MOTC. I got a head rush. I don't know if it makes me feel better on the wall, but like it's a compound that could probably help drive energy in a deficit or even just pre-workout if that's what you're into. And yeah, I've tried GHK Copper. All I got was like probably the worst post-injection pain I've ever had for 24 hours. Just burned, man. Just burned. But I might try going more intramuscular instead of sub-Q and see if that makes it any better. But like, yeah, that hurts. I don't know if I'm going to pin that again. Sometimes we'll just chalk it up to a loss, and that's no big deal. I was curious about it to drive angiogenesis. It's dope for collagen synthesis. It's great for skin. And I know that like Utah soccer moms can handle it and I can't. And like, that might just be okay. But yeah, all in all, I'm kind of impressed with Adam from 9 months ago. He was actually pretty on top of it. Everything that was on my list of things to test, minus terkesterone and ecdysterone, were good choices. DECA was a miss. GH is a love-hate, but all the rest of it looks pretty good. And of the things that were hard passes, I've changed my mind on Winstrol and like EQ. But yeah, I still don't like the idea of Winstrol for extended periods. I think it's fine for short-term use. I've kind of changed my mind on that, but not using Anadrol and Superdrol was fine. And yeah, essentially there was some like learning along the way, but not too bad for a natty that was just doing research and hadn't crossed the threshold yet. Not bad, young man. But the short answer is there's still a whole bunch more to test. There will be a masteron deep dive at some point. I'll compare my preference between Primabol and masteron later on down the line. I'll be testing some EQ. I still have to test some Halo. I still need to test some Turinabol. And I'm going to wait another 4 weeks to do my final thoughts on GH. I'm going to keep like letting them trickle out because I change my mind on this compound like every day. I can't tell if like I love it and it's probably the #1 compound for climbers, or it's just a colossal pain in my ass and not worth the effort. We'll see when block pulls are all said and done, and when I pull it and I do another performance block. But definitely the potential highest upside of everything that I tested, and probably the thing that I slept on the most for it. So I'm going to say that that's potentially my biggest, the thing I was probably the most wrong on going into this, followed by Masteron. I didn't think I was going to like Masteron. I love it. I think those two were probably the thing that 9 months later I was probably the most incorrect about. But yeah, that's basically it. If you guys are new, please do not forget to like and subscribe. I'm probably going to do another one of these videos in another 6 to 12 months after some more experimentation, after more rounds of blood work, and we'll see what happens. I appreciate you guys being along for the journey thus far. And yeah, I got my blood work done today. You should get your blood work done. If you want discounts up to 70% off of blood work from what your doctor would charge, you could use Anabolic Insights in the link below. Lots of great labs that you can get. They have some other cool products coming soon too. You can use code CLIMBING for an extra discount. And yeah, appreciate you guys deeply. Thank you. I've noticed some more new folks to the channel. Every one of the subscribers, it means the world to me. It seriously does. So with that, I'm going to give you guys a front double on the way out. I'm Adam with Anabolic Climbing, giving you guys a Nux and happy sending. I will see you in the next one. Take care.